Good morning, everyone. The inflation rate is significantly down from last year's peak, but prices for many goods are much higher than just a few years ago. As Christine Lazar tells us, that's making it difficult for many buyers to find an affordable car.
Customers headed to used car lots are still experiencing a sense of sticker shock, including Anthony Achetto, who hit a roadblock when shopping for a SUV. Have you seen any good deals?
Not really. But we need a new car. Ours is falling apart.
Even though used car prices are down from a year ago, they are still way higher than pre-pandemic levels, up nearly 48% since 2019. Carl Brower with auto sales site I See Cars says it dates back to the pandemic-related supply chain issue that led to a new car shortage.
Now, those new cars are used cars. Those are limited in the used car space. So it's just maintaining these high used car prices.
The biggest price hikes are among some of the most popular cars on the market. The Ram 1500 pickup is $15,000 more expensive than in 2019. The Toyota Camry is up $8,000.
At that rate, when you're paying so much for a used car, does it in some instances make sense to just buy a new car then?
In many instances, for buyers, depending on their budget and what they really need, a new car does make more sense.
That's because the typical loan rate for a new car is 7.4%, much lower than a used car. But new cars are more expensive overall, with an average price of just under $48,000. Experts say buyers who want a good deal need to be flexible. Being willing to choose from a wide range of vehicles will give you more power to negotiate. Christine Lazar, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Buying an electric car is getting cheaper. Kelley Blue Book says prices are down about 20% from a year ago, and many buyers can qualify for federal incentives that can provide tax breaks of up to $7,500 for a new car. November is here, and for those who celebrate Thanksgiving, the countdown is now on, and a new forecast is revealing how much your turkey dinner could cost you this year. So which items will be more expensive and cheaper? Cole Higgins has a look at why the star of the holiday meal is seeing a shift in price.
This year's Thanksgiving dinner is serving up some dramatic shifts when it comes to cost. Wholesale prices for turkey fell 29% in October compared to a year ago. That's according to Wells Fargo's new Thanksgiving report. The forecast is welcome news for turkey farmers and marks a major shift from last year when a wave of avian flu took out birds, leaving some farms struggling to keep up with demand, which led to higher store prices. This 2023, the Wells Fargo Agri-Food Institute says farms added 2% to 3% additional birds, and that robust supply plus a drop in the cost of refrigerated trucks to move supply from farm to store are contributing to the price drop. But get ready for some sticker shock because the rest of the meal will cost you more.
Everything else around it, all those side dishes, choose to spend wisely and shop wisely where you can.
According to the Wells Fargo forecast, canned cranberries cost almost 60% more compared to the same time last year. So opt for fresh cranberries instead, which cost about 20% less compared to last year. And right now, production costs for canned pumpkin are 30% higher this year from last year. Russet potato prices are at an all-time high, with prices up 14% from a year ago. So consider going for sweet potatoes instead. Store prices are only up about 4%. To trim costs, experts recommend scaling back.
Do you really need all that stuff? Who is actually eating this? Do we have a dish that maybe only gets 2 or 3 bites? Scrap it.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Cole Higgins.
Now, experts say you can expect even sweeter deals closer to the holidays since stores usually drop turkey prices 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. You may want to stay away from the sweets this holiday season. More than 37 million people are living with diabetes in the United States. It's a chronic disease that affects how your body turns food into energy, and it can cause severe damage to a person's body. Mandy Gaither has 5 ways to help prevent health problems from diabetes.
It's a common disease, but millions of Americans may not even know they have diabetes, even though early detection is critical.
As soon as you can have the diagnosis made, the sooner the proper treatment can begin.
Diabetes can damage the eyes, kidneys, nerves, and heart.
If you have high blood glucose, you're more likely to have high blood pressure and high cholesterol. And those three factors, either independently and certainly working together, can damage the small vessels in our bodies.
You can prevent diabetes-related health problems by taking charge of your health. That includes adopting healthy lifestyle habits like a sensible diet. Physical activity and getting adequate sleep is also important, as is managing stress and taking medicines on time.
Smoking also has a detrimental effect on your small blood vessels. And so, especially with people with diabetes, we want to suggest that they try to stop smoking.
Experts say small health changes over time can make a big difference and may not be as overwhelming.
You can begin to make choices that you are more likely to stick to.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The CDC's National Diabetes Statistics Report also estimates that around 96 million adults in the U.S. have prediabetes, where blood sugar levels are higher than normal, but not high enough to be diagnosed as type 2 diabetes. So talk to a doctor about getting your blood sugar tested, especially if you have high risk factors that include being overweight, being over 45 years old, or having a close relative with type 2 diabetes. Well, patients being treated at county health departments across the state can now get a free ride to their appointments. The Mississippi State Department of Health launched its Transportation to Health program earlier this week. The program will provide patient transportation through Uber to and from county health departments. Patients can also pick up prescriptions at participating pharmacies. The medicine has to be prescribed during the health department visit. So to get the free ride, you will have to contact the MSDH by calling the call center at 855-767-0170. The office will then coordinate the ride with Uber, and there will be no cost to you. Finding a different dream, how one young woman is running to find a cure for a genetic disorder. Her story is ahead on Mid-Morning. A young woman is inspiring others by running her first marathon while undergoing chemotherapy for a serious disorder. Michael George shows us how she overcame her diagnosis and is now running to help others.
At age 15, Leanna Scaglione's life changed forever. An aspiring ballerina, she started having intense pain in her hips and quads.
It just got way too much, and I was like, Mom, I can't do this anymore.
Doctors found a large tumor on her spine and diagnosed her with neurofibromatosis, a genetic disorder that causes tumors to grow on nerve tissue. She was confined to a wheelchair.
It was very, very devastating for me, knowing that that dream was pretty much done. I was told I probably wasn't going to dance again.
She spent the next year and a half learning to walk normally again. Now, at 32, she doesn't just walk, she runs.
I shocked myself because I didn't think running was actually possible because I was in a wheelchair as a teenager.
She started running during the pandemic, and it soon became her passion. This weekend, she'll be competing in her first marathon. But the path hasn't been easy, training while undergoing chemotherapy, and more hurdles lie ahead. In a few months, she faces surgery to remove a tumor that will leave her deaf in one ear.
There were times that the side effects were so bad that it was just easier for me to rest on the couch because not moving was the best thing for me.
Leanna is running on the Children's Tumor Foundation charity team, raising money to find a cure for neurofibromatosis.
I'd want to be an example that despite these odds against you, you can still live your life and have it be fulfilling.
Proving step by step that limits are made to be broken. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
And neurofibromatosis affects around 130,000 Americans, making it one of the most common genetic disorders. Jordan Lang was born with an incredibly rare genetic mutation, so rare that she was the first ever to be diagnosed with it. Thanks to the work of her parents and 5 other families whose children have the same condition, millions of dollars to research the rare mutation have been raised, and ongoing research may have led to a possible breakthrough. Adam Yamaguchi has more on that.
Jordan Lang may not speak like most 17-year-olds, but she has no problem letting you know how she feels.
Let's go this way.
Before her first birthday, Jordan's parents, Cynthia and Joe, suspected she was different.
It was about 9 months when she wasn't hitting her milestones that most kids would hit.
We tested for things.
Everything came up negative.
Good job, Jordan.
Jordan wasn't developing the strength and muscle tone to keep up with other children her age. She also experienced muscle seizures. And as she grew, Jordan's intellectual development stalled at the level of a toddler. Test after test failed to pinpoint a diagnosis.
But then at age 10, we did this genome mapping, and that opened up all of our answers.
That mapping revealed a genetic mutation doctors had never seen before, one that interferes with cell and tissue function. The Langs and their physicians were perplexed.
And she used to just motor everywhere.
2 months after Jordan's diagnosis, the Langs learned of 5 other children exhibiting the same genetic mutation. Jordan being the very first to be diagnosed, it's got to be very lonely.
When someone calls and says, gee, your child is one of 6 in the world, it can be a little bit daunting.
It's like, wow, we don't know where we're going, but let's go.
Through social media, the Langs soon found companions on their journey. Hundreds of parents around the world describe similar symptoms in their children, often misdiagnosed as autism. But genome mapping found many shared the same group of mutations, changes that just happen and aren't inherited. The disorder now had a face and a name: Jordan syndrome. Tell me about Jordan.
Well, she's just this amazing 17-year-old child. She doesn't speak, but she's a very soulful young girl.
She walks fast, Adam.
She'll sometimes grab your hand and say, I'm here and I want to be your friend. We got to chew and swallow.
While the children's development remained stalled, their parents forged ahead, creating a foundation called Jordan's Guardian Angels to take an end run around Big Pharma and its lengthy drug development process that focuses on treating more common ailments.
But I know we have a couple of topics.
The Guardian Angels meet each week to discuss fundraising and research. They have raised $36 million in grants and donations and convinced a group of researchers from 10 major institutions to work together on treatments and prevention.
We're starting to see changes within the way either dopamine is synthesized or processed.
One of the partners is the University of California, Davis, where Jan Nolta oversees gene editing in animals, targeting mutations responsible for Jordan syndrome.
And so she's taking the RNA out to see if we've kind of fixed the defect.
And in just 6 years of research, they're now just a few months away from testing treatments on children with Jordan syndrome, and optimistic about a breakthrough. So you're approaching clinical trials fairly soon.
Yeah.
This is light speed in this world.
Light speed to get to the clinical trials. It's amazing.
The children have inspired the research team to speed toward that goal. That level of cooperation isn't very common.
Scientists are often competing for grant funding, and without the research dollars, no discoveries are ever made.
For Jordan's parents, it's a race against time.
To go from discovery of a disease to now talking about treatments and possible cures in 6 years is almost unheard of, right? That normally that length of time is 15 years or more.
How do you think that potential treatments can help Jordan, given that she's 17 years old at this point?
If we could develop some level of speech, that means a difference in life that's life-changing.
And potentially life-changing for many around the world. Scientists now estimate that 250,000 people may have undiagnosed Jordan syndrome.
It does drive you. Your child's now known around the world because of a disease. The love of your child
Yeah, I know you like that.
is an amazing motivator.
For CBS Saturday Morning, Adam Yamaguchi, Sacramento, California.
Still to come, a taste of the holiday season. Mid-morning, we'll be right back. All right, you're probably still working your way through your Halloween candy, but big brands are already thinking about the holidays. Dunkin' Donuts unveiled its new holiday lineup this week, including a spiced cookie coffee. And backed by popular demand are favorites like the peppermint mocha signature latte and the toasted white chocolate signature latte. And for those who are looking for something savory, not sweet, loaded hash browns feature a layer of hash browns topped with warm cheddar queso and finished with crispy crumbled bacon on top. Kind of like that myself. All right, so never to be outdone, Starbucks has unveiled its holiday cup designs. This year's holiday theme is Share the Joy. The PR folks at Starbucks say their cups are like little wrapped gifts for their partners. They describe the look this year as clad in holiday red and Starbucks greens and a mood-boosting magenta, each one accented with sparkles and for a bit of magic. The cups will appear in Starbucks stores this week along with many of the popular beverages of the season. All right, if you would like to spend Thanksgiving at Grandma's house, want to think about whose grandma? An Arizona grandmother who befriended a stranger she accidentally texted 7 years ago about Thanksgiving dinner is now opening her home up for 2 more strangers this year. Airbnb is offering a one-night stay at Wanda Dench's home and 2 seats at her Thanksgiving table. The stranger, now a friend, Jamal Hinton, and Wanda's family will be there. I love the story about these two. The stay comes complete with a cozy spot by the fire after dinner, some cider or hot cocoa, and the offer to compete in some family board games. When Jamal was a teenager, he received a text from a stranger. Wanda Dench thought she was sending a message to her grandson, but the two connected and Jamal ended up at Thanksgiving dinner then and every year since then. Through Airbnb, guests can request to book an overnight stay at Wanda's house in Prescott, Arizona, as well as a seat at Wanda and Jamal's Thanksgiving dinner on November 14th. The stay will be priced at $16 and a nod to the year that Wanda and Jamal spent their first Thanksgiving together. That was back in 2016 when it all started. Airbnb will make a one-time donation to Feeding America, the largest hunger relief organization in the United States, helping to provide food and support for 32 million people in America facing hunger every year. Love that story. All right, museums can be fun and educational, but for some children, they're not always easy to get to. Rob Cardwell shows us how a teacher is bringing the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts to her students in a unique way.
So he was in
Heather Levitt loves teaching kids about art.
And then this is him up here.
And artists.
Y'all are going to love this. He lived to 101. Yeah.
But one night at home, she thought about not all kids having access to museums.
My husband goes, oh no, she's getting an idea.
So she went on Facebook Marketplace and designed a museum of her own.
And guess what I have?
With a dollhouse.
Experience a museum if they can't really get to one. So this is, we talk about museum manners and expectations in a museum. I got so excited about this, I almost didn't want to go on vacation because I was really into it.
The Elizabeth Scott Elementary students get to showcase their own art in their very own Museum of Fine Arts.
This has a unique little feature. What can you do here?
So it's on a turntable.
What?
And I can turn it around so you can see the sculptures in the front.
Shrunk down to scale, she's created rooms to show off their work. She also uses the mini museum to go over museum etiquette.
Some of them were really interesting because they were like Picasso, and others were just simple butterflies or whatever, and it was just a great opportunity. My favorite part of this museum is the actual studio at the top, and I like that because the kids need to know that there are classes at the museum that they can take.
Small art to help learn big lessons.
Thank you.
In Chesterfield, Rob Cardwell, CBS 6 News.
Honoring the legacy of hip-hop will show you where when mid-morning returns. Welcome back. The Grammy Museum is celebrating 50 years of hip-hop with a 5,000 square foot exhibit that delves into the genres music, dance, fashion, and more. Danya Bacchus gives us a look inside.
Left, right, another KO. With iconic performances playing on screens, mixtapes, and vinyl, Hip Hop the Mixtape exhibit at the Grammy Museum in Los Angeles takes visitors through a visceral time machine of the art form's history.
There are so many very special pieces that you feel like we did not miss any part of hip hop.
Ryan Butler is the Vice President of Diversity and Inclusion at the Recording Academy and a member of the exhibit's advisory committee.
How it honors hip hop from the beginning until now and even into the future is so amazing to me.
The installation doesn't just focus on beats and lyrics. It also looks at the genre's profound impact on culture. Adam Bradley is one of 4 curators.
Hip hop has impacted the way we dress, the way we walk through the world, the way we walk with confidence and flair and style.
On display, 5 decades of hip hop fashion. From LL Cool J's Kangol hat to Notorious B.I.G.'s red leather peacoat and Saweetie's nails.
The exhibit isn't just visual, it's also interactive. You can scratch on the turntables and even try to breakdance.
Hip hop has always been an interactive culture. It began not as something that you listened to, but something that you did. So we wanted to make sure that people could do things in this space.
5,000 square feet of space, paying homage to all things hip hop as it celebrates 50 years as a global phenomenon. Danya Bacchus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And Hip Hop America, the mixtape exhibit runs through next September. Stay with us. We'll be right back to wrap things up. The temperature has dropped out there. A local nonprofit organization is helping to keep the community warm. The Junior Auxiliary of West Point is hosting its annual coat drive. The group is asking the community to donate new and gently used jackets and gloves and hats. Members say there is a specific need in the community for coats for preschoolers, so they'd like for you to send in sizes 2T to 5T with some of those donations. The donation deadline is November the 6th.
Last year we kind of partnered up with the library, who was doing a coat drive for people of all ages, and we saw the importance of, you know, people that need to stay warm in West Point and Clay County. And this year the ICS Head Start program reached out to us, and they serve children ages 1 to 5, and they asked for coats for their preschoolers who are aged or size 2T to 5T.
And all those donations can be dropped off at GO Finance in West Point. All right, we are all out of time. We will see you back here the next time. Have yourself a great day. Stay warm.